If you're just tuning in, this is the Art of Renovation Live. I'm your host, Paul Foster from Renovations and Custom Homes. This is our question and answer episode. And Kelsey FM asked, what are some inexpensive renovations to boost condo value? So I'll address that, as well as generally what renovations will increase value in your home or condo. So historically speaking, your kitchen, your bathrooms, those are the real bang for your buck, dollar for dollar returns. Depending on how you do them, of course. So I guess to be more specific to your question, Kelsey, so inexpensive renovations, so that's kind of an interesting term, because expensive is fairly subjective, right? So I guess what can be expensive is doing a poor job or picking bad products or having an amateur do the work. That can cost less upfront, but I think it can backfire in the long run. So if you have an amateur come and do a kitchen reno for you to prep your property for sale, and it looks like an amateur job, I don't think that's going to help attract many buyers. In fact, it might just have been a waste of time and money to do the work at all. Radtech's asking a fireplace. Fireplace can bring some value in, I think, for the right person. Depends how you approach it, right? So a gas fireplace is a lot more money to install as a new application. If you haven't had one there before, you need a chimney chase, you need a chimney, you need a gas line, you need some power. You'd probably, if you're going in from scratch on a gas fireplace, you're probably sitting somewhere in that, $5,000 to $10,000 range, unless you're going really fancy on your mantle, things like that. If you go with electric fireplace, that's creates a nice ambiance in the room. It's a nice detail. Doesn't really add any sort of heat value. It's not going to warm up your space, but it looks pretty slick. You can do electric fireplaces for quite a bit less. There's no venting needed. You don't need a gas line. You just need an electrical circuit. Some plug into the wall on an existing circuit, and then it's a matter of how far do you want to go as far as making it look pretty, right? So electric fireplaces you can probably do from $1,000 to $5,000, again, unless you're going into something where you're getting very creative about how you do the mantle and how you finish the surface of the fireplace chase. But in general, I would say, inexpensive renovations, typically, I think you need to assess the overall condition of the space. If it's looking really run down and you think a coat of paint would help freshen it up, that's fantastic. But if your floors are totally beat, well, maybe it's not even worth putting the coat of paint in, right? Maybe you're going to sell it as is. Not too sure, right? Depends on the space, right? But if it all looks pretty good and a coat of paint would help a lot, maybe you have a dated color there and you can modernize it somewhat or freshen it up with another coat of paint on there. That can be a very inexpensive way to make the space look really, maybe not new, but kind of fresh again. Flooring changes too. Those can make a big difference depending on what product you have in your home existing. I would say as far as renovations in general go, like I said before, the kitchen and bathroom is kind of the way to go, but you need to do it properly, right? And somewhere in the middle. You don't want to go overboard and do some super fancy high-end kitchen because that might not yield a good return when you come to sell the home, right? And definitely don't start picking super trendy and really polarizing colors and fixtures in there, because that could actually really date stamp the project in some way. And if someone doesn't like a current trend and you've gone and followed that, that makes it a bit harder to sell. So I like a timeless look within what we do. But that being said, our clients are always kind of in control and work with our designers to make sure we come up with something that meets their needs. So Kelsey, I would say that, quickly, I would say flooring paint makes a big difference. In your kitchen, if it's all relatively in good condition, classing up the space a little bit can help sometimes. So could be as simple as changing hardware in your cabinets, could be adding backsplash tile. If your door profile is nice, but the color is a bit dated, we see lots of kind of this peachy oak color that came out of the 80s and 90s. A nice coat of paint on your cabinets can make a big difference. But overall, I would say that, your best bang for your buck is your kitchen or your bathroom, renovating them to something that would be more appealing and more modern. And nowadays, the designs that we have and the products, they all work a lot better and far more functional.